Hey Class Bites fans, and welcome back. Today we're diving straight into a huge topic that affects everything you buy, globalization and how it's completely reshaped world trade patterns. This is essential knowledge for understanding our modern world. If you're ready to quickly and easily master complex ideas like this, please hit that like button right now. And if you want to keep getting these rapid, insightful lessons, be sure to subscribe. Let's start learning how the world became one big market. Globalization is the process through which countries, cultures, and economies become increasingly connected and dependent on one another. It grows naturally as people, goods, information, and ideas move more easily across borders. Advances in transportation allow products to travel quickly from one part of the world to another, while communication technologies let businesses coordinate activities across vast distances. As these connections deepen, the world begins to function less like a collection of separate national markets and more like a single intertwined system. This growing interconnection has a powerful influence on trade patterns. In earlier periods, most countries relied heavily on the goods they could produce within their own borders. Over time, especially as transportation and communication became faster and cheaper, it became far more practical for nations to buy products from places that could make them more efficiently. For example, some countries specialize in manufacturing certain types of electronics, while others focus on agricultural products, textiles, or high-skill services. Globalization encourages this specialization by making it easier for each country to concentrate on what it can produce most effectively and then exchange those goods on the world market. As a result, trade flows have expanded dramatically. Instead of purchasing mostly domestic products, consumers now find items in their stores that may have passed through several countries before reaching them. Components might be designed in one region, assembled in another, and packaged in a third before finally being shipped to their final destination. This creates complex global supply chains. These supply chains allow companies to lower production costs by choosing locations where labor, resources, or technology are more favorable. In turn, lower production costs can lead to lower prices for consumers and a wider variety of goods. However, the effects of globalization on trade are not the same for everyone. Some countries benefit greatly because they can sell their products to a vast international market, attract investment, or gain access to advanced technologies. Others may struggle if their industries cannot compete with cheaper imports, or if their economies become too dependent on a narrow range of exports. Workers in certain sectors may face job losses when companies relocate production to regions with lower costs, even as new opportunities appear in industries that grow through global connections. Globalization also changes the balance of economic power. Large, multinational companies can operate across borders, influencing markets and shaping the trade policies of many nations. At the same time, countries must often adjust their regulations to fit a world in which goods, money, and information move freely. These adjustments can encourage cooperation, but they can also lead to disagreements about fairness, environmental standards, and the protection of local industries. Overall, globalization reshapes trade by making international exchange faster, broader, and more interconnected than ever before. It allows nations to specialize, opens new possibilities for innovation, and gives consumers access to a greater range of products. At the same time, it creates challenges that require careful management so that the benefits can be shared more evenly. Through these combined forces, globalization continues to influence how countries trade and how economies evolve within an increasingly connected world. These shifts in global connections also influence how people think about value, creativity, and identity within the trading world. As countries interact more frequently, a subtle blending of cultural expectations shapes what consumers seek and how producers respond. A style of clothing that begins in one region can inspire designers across distant markets, while culinary traditions, entertainment trends, and aesthetic preferences circulate through international trade just as easily as physical goods. This cultural flow encourages experimentation among businesses that wish to appeal to global audiences. Yet, it also prompts conversations about preserving local traditions that might otherwise be overshadowed by more dominant global influences. Small and medium-sized enterprises experience the pressures of globalization in distinct ways. Some discover new possibilities by reaching customers beyond their national borders, relying on digital storefronts that allow even modest companies to operate internationally. Others face intense competition from large foreign producers with greater resources and cheaper manufacturing conditions. In such an environment, survival often depends on a company's ability to differentiate its products, build strong community loyalty, or embrace innovation more quickly than before. These circumstances gently reshape local commercial landscapes and challenge entrepreneurs to balance global exposure with regional roots. The rise of digital trade further expands the meaning of globalization. Services that once required physical presence, such as education, professional consulting, entertainment, and design, now flow through online platforms. This reduces the relevance of geography, allowing talent from any part of the world to participate in the global economy. Digital goods move with extraordinary speed, enabling rapid exchanges of knowledge and creative work. As a result, countries that invest in digital infrastructure often find themselves better positioned to benefit from modern trade patterns, while regions with limited access to technology risk falling behind in an increasingly networked economy. Environmental considerations add another layer to this evolving picture. As products travel across long distances, concerns arise about emissions, resource depletion, and the ecological effects of mass production. Some consumers begin to weigh the environmental footprint of imported goods, prompting businesses to explore cleaner production methods or more efficient transport systems. Sustainable trade practices gain importance as societies recognize that economic growth must coexist with ecological responsibility. Globalization therefore encourages not only commercial exchange, but also international dialogue about how to protect the planet while maintaining prosperity. Governments face their own challenges within this interconnected environment. They must navigate agreements that establish shared rules for tariffs, intellectual property, and product standards. These agreements aim to create fairness, yet they can also limit a country's ability to shield certain industries or pursue economic strategies that conflict with international expectations. Debates often emerge about how much openness is healthy and how much control is necessary to safeguard national interests. Through such debates, globalization shapes political priorities and sparks discussions about fairness, sovereignty, and long-term stability. Looking toward the future, globalization continues to evolve rather than follow a single, unchanging path. Emerging technologies influence how trade functions, from automated logistics systems to artificial intelligence tools that optimize supply networks. Shifts in consumer values encourage companies to emphasize ethical sourcing, transparency, and social responsibility. New economic powers may arise, shifting trade routes and altering the balance of influence across continents. Even as some groups advocate for stronger local production, the deep web of international ties makes complete separation impractical, ensuring that global interactions will persist in some form. In this broader sense, globalization becomes not just an economic trend, but a transforming force that shapes how societies communicate, innovate, and imagine their place in the world. Its impact on trade patterns is only one dimension of a much wider story, a story that continues to unfold as nations, businesses, and individuals adapt to a world where connection itself has become one of the most powerful drivers of change.
And that wraps up today's topic. We hope you enjoyed this short lesson and learned something new. Drop a comment and tell us what topic you'd like to explore next. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Class Bites to keep learning and growing with us every day.